Ghost of Yotei is looking very promising. We just got the almost 20-minute long state of play, and while on the surface it might look like a pretty traditional sequel, I think there's way more than meets the eye. The gameplay loop has namely seen some very significant changes and additions that will make playing an hour as Atsu feel completely different compared to spending an hour with Jin. And the biggest reason for that is freedom, as Sucker Punch is doing away with the more linear structure that Ghost of Tsushima had. Like, I'm sure there's a tutorial we all have to go through, but once we reach the big open map of Esso, it seems like we can choose where we want to go instead of being locked out of large areas until we continue with the main story. A new feature is namely the fact that we can collect clues by interacting with particular NPCs or interrogating enemies, and then we choose the info that is most appealing to us. Atsu wants revenge on the Yotei 6 who slaughtered her family 16 years ago, and intel on their location is one of the clues we can collect. But this also lets us unlock brand new weapons this game has. Next to the katana, Atsu can use the Yari spear, a kusarigama, a huge odashi, totally one of my favorite weapons they showed. Look at the sheath animation, very cool. And she also has dual swords, with a short bow, long bow and rifle as ranged options. But yeah, if you want to unlock any of these weapons, you have to take out these special Yotei targets first. But the order in which you do that is completely up to you. So you can immediately go to the snowy mountains with more shinobi-like enemies, or do that way later in the game and instead go to the war-scarred lands and fight samurai enemies. And the order in which you go after these Yotei 6 targets should also impact the abilities you can learn. We have 5 different skill categories this time: core, onryo, melee, revenge and wolf. Because yes, we have a wolf companion who can, for example, help us doing a standoff, which looks insane. But also new is that we have to find these skills in the open world at special altars of reflection before you can unlock them. We have to look out for these golden birds that can take us to an altar or other points of interest, but we can also find cartographers that sell us maps, and we have to place it ourselves over the world map, which is such a clever system. So yes, we have familiar open world activities like the platforming shrines. We now have sliding, by the way, as a new feature. We can cut bamboo again, chill in an onsen, but also new things like first person sumi-e painting or seni hajiki, a minigame where you have to throw coins off the table. The most exciting new addition are the bounty contracts though we can pick up that have us go after particular targets for nice money rewards. Yes, we will be collecting coins now instead of only trade with supplies like in Tsushima. And seems like they built camps around these bounty targets too, with enemies defending the Black Power Ippei using cannons to shoot at you from a distance, or you will encounter them in the familiar duels. Another really interesting new twist to the open world approach in Yotei is that Atsu can set up camp while exploring the open world. As expected, we can use this to rest, cook, probably get some buffs from that. And we can also play a shamisen song here, and these seem to be linked to some of the activities, looking at the icon and the name, like the hot springs. Song of the Spirit for the bamboo, and Resolve is by the way called Spirit in this game, and in Tsushima you had to cut the bamboo to improve your resolve, so that seems to be the case in Yotei as well. Song of Vanity for new cosmetics, a Song of the Wolf, curious what that is, and a Song of the Shrines for new shrines. So it seems that by playing the song we might learn about a new location for these activities nearby. But the coolest part is that while camping you can have NPCs join you by the fire who might have something to sell or upgrades for you to unlock. What this means is that you don't have to leave the area you are currently exploring in order to get the gear from the vendor in a completely different region. They can just join you by the campfire and you can then purchase the upgrades from them that way. I really love the new wolf pack menu they have instead of the journal menu from Tsushima. This shows you all the different characters and lets you know if they have an upgrade or task or something else. By selecting them you can see where they are located, or again in some cases you can select set up camp and then that person will come to you. It's such a neat feature and probably very useful as well. Like, we got a glimpse at the gear menu and damn, there are a ton of upgrades and unlocks to get. Yotei has way more depth in terms of combat, so let's look at that. A quick reminder, I am doing a giveaway for the digital deluxe edition of the game. You have to be a subscriber if you want to enter via the link in the pinned comment, and leave a like on the video as well. An interesting new combat mechanic has to do with the yellow glint attacks from enemies. If they are namely successful, you will lose the weapon you are currently using. I think you can then pick it up again. But if you counter these attacks, you will actually disarm the enemy. And picking up enemy weapons seems to add another nice twist, like being able to throw this spear to another enemy. And also here we see a katana Atsu can pick up with R2. Curious if those are just throwable weapons, but we of course have our own arsenal and we can equip all our weapons at the same time and freely switch between them. Something we actually have to do because weapon switching is basically the same as switching stances in Tsushima. Instead of using the moon stance against a brute, you now want to grab your large Odashi to easily take care of them. And just like in the Iki Island DLC, enemies will now switch weapons mid-combat, so you have to adapt and in this case switch to the dual swords to counter the spear. Every weapon also has special moves and abilities that again cost spirit, the resolve from this game. And I love the time to kill they've shown so far, 2 hits for most enemies. This seems very similar to the lethal difficulty they added later to the first game, but no word on if that is returning. Weapons also seem to have unique ways to use them for stealth, like pulling an enemy towards us with the Kusarigama. Atsu and Jin also share some similar tricks. Instead of the ghost stance, Atsu seems to have something called the Onryo's Howl that we can activate after the charges are full. I'm really curious what this is. She can also do the chain assassination that lets you take out multiple targets in quick succession. 3 was the max for Jin. We see Atsu do 3 now here too, but I'm curious if we can extend that further. Combining that with the smoke bombs was a great tactic in Tsushima and seems like Atsu has them too, as in the gear menu we see the kunai, this bomb icon that looks like the blinding powder used in the gameplay. This is oil, so our weapons can burn like the Way of the Flame from Tsushima. And this then looks like the smoke bomb. And below that we have a matchlock pistol. So this is a smaller one we can use less frequently compared to the other rifle. And there's also a ranged option to throw bombs, similar to what we saw in the Legends mode, with multiple bombs being available. Next to the different arrows and bullets for the rifle, again, there seems to be a ton of depth. And that's even without bringing in the charms that are back and give effects like making parries, perfect parries and perfect dodges easier to perform. What is interesting is that many charms now also have power levels that you can improve by using the effect of the charm, which is a very cool addition. We can once again have 6 charms equipped at the same time and also still have headgear, a mask and a chest piece as equipment slots. But it does seem that loadouts are now available from launch, looking at this side of the menu, so we can quickly switch between the different playstyles. No word on transmog though, although we can change the color of the different armor sets again. And damn, the ones they already showed look very cool. Even though Atsu is not a samurai, she still has some very cool warrior suits, but also this assassin one, a ranged one that looks kind of similar to what Jin had, more shinobi ones, some with scary mythical masks. There are many animal masks as well, and they seem to tease the return of the Sakai clan armor from Jin, or at least the helmet will be back. This has to be it, right? Now we are just getting started here, so subscribe of course for way more Ghost of Yotei coverage. If you found cool things in the state of play, drop it in the comments down below. A like would be awesome. Check our live reaction to the gameplay by clicking on the screen. Giveaway in the pinned comment, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.